Egypt. This week, Egypt's central bank reacted by raising its key overnight interest rates for the second time this year. I sat down with Egypt's Minister of Investment, Mohieldin, and asked him about inflationary pressures in this edition of FaceTime. As you know, the Gulf countries are linked to the dollar, and Egypt, for all intents and purposes, is a dollar-based economy. With the dollar falling as severely as it has, what sort of pressures is this putting on Egypt in terms of day-to-day operations, even inflation?
Well, despite all of the talks after 9/11, many countries, including the Gulf countries, became more dollar concentrated. But I think during the last 18 months or so, there have been some revisions of that. But in the case of Egypt, we are not really that pegged to the dollar, and you can see changes, major changes in the value of our currency versus the dollar, and changes in trade composition and changes in capital inflow sources have been putting an emphasis on that.
We're seeing, as you know, an intense level of uncertainty. Do we get a sense from the Middle East perspective that the bottom is almost near?
Well, all crises do have an end. But how they are going to be ending all of these problems and the turbulence that we're seeing in the markets, and what kind of new arrangements. Every time after crises, you get new rules, new arrangements, some winners, some losers. I'm much more concerned about the policy formulations in the future. We need actually more from the global civil servants in the international financial institutions and in the World Trade Organizations, and better representation from the emerging markets in the debates and the discussion, in order to put emphasis on the rules of the game in the future.
You're coming off of a record year for foreign direct investment.
Yes.
Will this actually hurt U.S. investment decisions into Egypt, or are you buffered now more so than in the past?
Well, Egypt is becoming a very well-integrated economy with the rest of the world. From the sources of FDI, you can see greater diversity if you compare what is happening during the last 2 years compared to what was happening during the last 20 years. So there are more sources of FDI from the US, from Canada, from the rest of the OECD countries, but more FDI coming from the Gulf states, from India, China, and Turkey.
Do you try at this stage of the cycle to redefine where Egypt's place is in the global economy in terms of its low-cost labor, in terms of its human capital, to attract FDI from other parts of the world?
We have, in terms of geography, a better location than India. And we're a smaller country, so we could be more competitive and agile and being able to maneuver. As an example, we have policies to integrate us further, to have more diversified trade links, and at the same time we are sharpening the skills of our workers. We're having a policy of inclusivity that is improving the access to finance, to land, to education, to resources, to every Egyptian. We are not going to be leaving any Egyptian behind as far as the benefits of growth are concerned.
There was discussion about a free trade agreement with the United States. In light of this global slowdown, do you see that coming back onto the table?
Well, a free trade agreement could be beneficial to the two countries, so it's going to be considered with that spirit. But having said that, without the free trade agreement, the trade statistics have been showing some positive exports growth of Egyptian products to the United States. So the FTA is important, but I think it is not really an issue of make it or break it as far as the bilateral arrangements are concerned. If it happens, it's going to be good, because we believe in the benefits of free trade in general.
Mohieldin has been investment minister for 4 years, taking foreign direct investment from just $500 million to $11 billion in 2007.